I wanted to do with it. And probably 2 months ago, hopped back on, third time around, something like that. But really getting into this space, getting into debates, panels, that type of shit, and figuring out where my place is here.
Okay, because since you didn't appear on VK recently, I thought you were just like gone for good, and so I was like, "Where'd you go?" And then I just kind of quick searched you, and you're like on some generally specific channel or something. And
Yeah. Hey, hold up real quick, iFi.
yeah, what's up?
Hey, Truckers Podcast, can you put up middle finger or such? See, I don't know. This looked like a fake video in the background.
Be careful.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
porn
I'm
bombers everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Right off the rip too. I'm like 2 minutes in this fucking P bomber. All right. Anyways, go on. You talking about generally specific?
Yeah. So then I thought that was like gonna be your main platform because you were like moderating his shows and stuff, and I was like, "Is that your main channel now?" And so I tried to catch you on there, but then you weren't there for a week, so I was like, "Okay, so you're not there." So then I ended up on the Raging Tomato, and I thought that was gonna be your platform. So I was like, "Where
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
dude?" And then you popped up on Flow, so I got you, bro.
Well, I probably won't be on Raging Tomato, especially after yesterday.
Oh, what?
Right, going over this video I just had up, Sarah and Jasmine Jafar, and basically we broke this down for I don't know 3 hours, something like that, and ended up with a little panel here, and it didn't go very well. We'll say that.
You offended her guest?
Yeah. I ended up with some, threats by morning time, and
Oh, noes.
and we already got two P bombers in the backstage right off the rip.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. One of them got me, even when they showed me like a live cam real quick. As soon as I got him on stage, he like did a porn video instantly. So you gotta be quick with them dudes. But
Yeah,
yeah, it happens.
it is what it is. I'm used to it. I've caught it before, and once you catch it a couple times, you know what I mean. Like catch it, had to kill, stream.
Yeah,
You kind of figure out, they better show and prove before they get up there.
I'm just gonna stick to people I know for a while until like I have like a producer that can do this shit for me or something. But
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
But you saw me on generally specific.
Yeah, so I thought that was going to be like your main, shtick for a while because you were like moderating his show for him. You were like, "I will control this panel," and he was like, "Okay," So
I'm wondering which one you mean though, like because
it was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know, I can't remember. But,
well, it was probably my channel then. He was probably dual streaming.
I think it was his channel because that's where I was trying to find where you were at. I could never find
Yeah.
your channel, so.
Huh. I
But
don't. I
anyways,
don't know. But yeah, he ended up having a bit of a meltdown too,
oh yeah.
and nobody likes the truth. I-Fi. The truth is very offensive.
I can hack it. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm a robot, so you can't offend me.
So have you seen any of this? I don't know if you saw me reviewing any, or if you saw any outside of that. The Sarah and Jasmine.
I saw about like 30 seconds of it where you were saying like that's not a good role model for her daughter or something. I can't remember what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah.
So
Yep.
you don't think little girls should grow up to be OnlyFans or something?
You know, so they're putting it like, oh, we're not promoting this, but meanwhile, everything that they're saying about it is a promotion of it.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of having your cake and eating it too. Like, oh, Sarah, like, oh, that's very respectable. And let's see a quote of hers: 110% of women on Earth would do OF if they looked like Jasmine Jafar. That's what she said, which
And
I
if they had
found
those standards.
yeah. If you're just gonna be a cum dumpster,
Yeah.
but the idea that every woman is that is, I think, bizarre coming from her, and talking about how this money coming in by super chat during the show is for her daughter. oh, here, daughter, I got you this from a porn star promoting her.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's not good. Not all money is good. And I'm not getting into, like, the financial needs and that type of shit. I get it. But at the same time, in the name of Jasmine Jafar, in the name of promoting this, toxic feminism, whatever the fuck it is that she's promoting, it's really bullshit.
I agree with you there, bud. There's
All
a
right.
lot of trash you got to get through to find any quality these days.
So, you ready to get into it a little bit, iFi?
I can handle anything, dude. You
Very
can't
good.
hurt my feelings. I promise.
Very good. David Goggins iFi can't hurt me. Here we go. I got it on 1.25.
All right.
But even then, my chances might be very, very slim from there. But and me, my body is like this. I might have a little.
Some people
Yeah,
prefer
no.
that though, Like, I mean,
Some
people
do,
have
some
all
do.
kinds of
I mean,
preference,
look,
but
I brought this up last night, iFi, but even this comment here from Neo, and Neo's been on here. Neo probably seen some of me talking about this, not showing up. But look, this fucking simpy comment. It's the hourglass for me, Jasmine. Could that mean anything else other than I'm worshiping your body? Could that mean anything else?
Maybe you just want to give her $5 so she can, read a book or something with it. You never know.
Yeah. That's totally plausible. Plausible deniability. That's what they meant.
The hourglass is when you know that your reading time is over, so you turn it over.
Oh, Neo in the chat. Neo, you are welcome up here, Neo. She has a nice body, dude. Look, it's subjective, right? In all fairness, it's subjective. But the fact is she treats herself as a human cum dumpster, and it's all good. It's a good thing as long as money and clout come with it. And look, everyone can do whatever they want to do, but now you go on and promote it to other women and spread it like some filthy disease? I can't get behind that, regardless if you are correct that she has a nice body. And I'm not co-signing that, but if you are even in that mindset, I still don't see how this is anything other than fucking garbage.
It sounds like supply and demand to me, Neo. You keep throwing $5 at them, they're gonna keep expecting $5, and with those kinds of comments, like,
Don't pet the strippers,
yeah.
and especially not the hookers.
I think
I'm sure
I
you
think
can
we've
live
already
with
trained
go on.
women to expect this kind of behavior, so like continuing it just never ends. It's like we'll never stop it if we keep pandering to them. So
Right. So, I think a lot of the, I guess, black pillar doomer mindset is, well, things are already fucked up, so fuck it.
let's
Right.
just enjoy the show at this point.
Right. Just enjoy the decline of humanity. And meanwhile, a lot of dudes come on here like, hey, what can we do? How can we make things better? What will make change? Should we do it at the voting booth? Blah, blah, blah. Is it the taxes, the economy, right? All these other purviews. And meanwhile, people not holding themselves accountable and the people around them accountable.
You can stop simping for starters. That'll slow down the flow.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, nice. Think about it. If all dudes, I know this wouldn't happen, but just think about if all dudes stop giving money to OF women, this type of shit, stop simping, stop the unnecessary physical comments, we wouldn't have the entitlement and ridiculous inflated ego of individuals such as Jasmine. Right? Because it's nothing other than ego. I mean, I've gone over the sound clips so far of her. Oh, I know that I'm wonderful and I just got to show myself off as an OF woman, like I was going to be a lawyer, but that was only $100K a year. Now I'm making $1 million a year. All these sentiments like, oh wow, that's wonderful, as long as you made money
girl.
and it's legal, right? As long as it's legal, even though we all know, anyone with a lick of common sense knows she crying herself to sleep, and that's only going to increase. And I don't know if she has kids or not, but the idea of bringing them into this world with that mindset of, hey, look, you should do what mommy does because mommy gonna lead. It's bad. Oh, we got Flow State in the house, man. I gotta double check this shit. I've already had 3 P bombers.
Yeah,
Hey,
make
Flo.
sure the real flow.
Flo, this you, Flo?
We
Yep,
can't
all
have
right,
any
cool, man.
imposters.
What up, Flo?
Yeah. Oh,
Taylor,
no.
holy shit! First name
Yeah.
base.
I went on a newish panel. Well, not new. I just don't go over there much earlier, and so I kind of spruced up my name a little bit.
Cool.
I think that this trend will reverse itself once, women realize that this is not a sustainable. That dudes don't actually want sluts,
Right.
or once dudes realize it.
I mean,
we do
I
send
think
mixed signals. We have to admit that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that men in general, I mean, you guys can tell me what you think, but I think that they want the woman to be like his slut. But the idea of actually being a slut, right? Like being with hundreds of men and being like, oh, it's empowering. It's empowering because now I'm not shackled down by one man. Look, you can do your thing. But the idea that you're not now shackled down to hundreds of men, thousands of men, right? The government, your man. All the simps are your men, right? To some degree, they have become your resource supply. But they're going to do nothing for that shit, in terms of, having a family. That's not happening. In terms of, your mental state, emotional state, these types of things. And again, do you women, like, do what you want to do. But the idea of it being further perpetuated, and in this case by Sarah, which, look, I don't know how this is any different than any other time I've talked about any of this shit. But for her to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you made this video on me. like, what are you talking about?
I didn't.
Why would I not?
I just started watching right before I jumped up here, and I don't even really know who that is. But I just caught you guys talking back and forth, and figured I knew the gist of it. But
yeah.
Is this chick somebody important or big or?
Well, you mean Jasmine Jafar? She's like the lawyer, debater, been with Andrew Wilson, and I think Alex PWF as far as debates, stuff like that. So she's been in the debate sphere. And she has the credential sort of as a lawyer or quasi-lawyer, failed in training. I don't know exactly.
Shit, I can be a lawyer.
yeah. I mean, look, pro se litigant. And meanwhile, this whole stream, I mean, I'm like 30 minutes in. This was mostly yesterday. We went over it. I just popped on. But the whole stream, Sarah just sucking her D, how wonderful she is. What a great influence she is, right? She's a role model. All of this type of stuff. And then meanwhile, and look, Neo, I saw your comment there that the money wasn't for Jasmine. I understand that. But the idea that we're donating to Sarah's daughter through perpetuating this OF culture, this whore culture, to me is fucking bizarre. Like, not all money is good money, right? This is to some degree blood money.
I don't know enough about it. I'm more. I'm not as prude as you are, broadly, but I don't know enough about this particular dynamic to comment on it. But I will say that I think that, like, this OF culture, I think that the responsibility for the solution rests in dudes, honestly. Because think about being young and meeting chicks, right? The first time we meet a chick, especially when you're young, you're trying to convince her that you don't care if she's a slut because you want to get laid. And it's not until later that most of them realize that, oh, wait, dudes actually do care in the long run. They're just trying to get laid, right? So I think it's kind of the burden's sort of on men to either to stop sending that message, or on women, or on like us old dudes to, sing it to the young women that, hey, by the way, these young dudes who are going to try to tell you they don't care what your body count is, they're lying because they want to add to it.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, look, you're talking about different truths. I totally agree with you. And as for the men comment, I totally agree. Now, look, these dudes that donate the money, etc., they're not on here, obviously. But generally speaking, you're absolutely correct. That, look, if the dudes didn't exist, she wouldn't exist doing what she does, right? Perpetuating this bullshit culture, this division of family. People like, oh, why is the U.S. so fucked up? Oh, why is marriage fucked up? What do you think stuff like this is doing for it? It's only hurting it.
Correct.
And I know there's this like, sort of, right, there's different varieties of cope in terms of, well, the married men who aren't getting laid, OF gives them this is fucking bullshit. It's just cope. Oh, we need OF women. They're really, a good thing for society. And it's like, look, all you have to ask yourself, I don't care what religion you are or what culture, what race, but would you want your daughter being her, for example, or being within that culture as she's expressing it, as we've seen it?
No, I would not. I would not want my daughter being involved in that culture. But in the same vein, I would probably. I don't see myself turning her away. I would probably host her on my channel. There's a clear distinction between being a prostitute and talking to a prostitute. And I would expect that my daughter is intelligent enough to sort that out. If not, then I've failed.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get that. But nonetheless, if you could choose for that not to happen, just like if you could choose for your daughter not to be a drug dealer or drug addict, that you would take that choice because it's bad, right? Drugs are bad, right? Nobody wants their family members being heroin addicts, right? I don't think. Meanwhile, this is to some degree similar. Right? It's not the same. It doesn't do the same to the body, but it does do harmful things to the body, including birth control, right? Morning after pill, getting rid of the fetuses themselves, right? Whether it's first trimester, whatever. And what does that do to them psychologically, right? It's got to break them. Now, I know you brought up Flow State about fluoride in the water. And, in that little exercise I was doing, which I'm all about, get rid of the fucking fluoride in the water. This idea that it's, curing your teeth is fucking nonsense. But you're ingesting it into your body, right? Hydrosulfuric acid, if I recall correctly. And meanwhile, we know also, from what we understand, that there's birth control remnants in the water as well, like trace elements that aren't able to be filtered out, something like that, in tap water. So people are getting this as well. But the idea of taking concentrated doses of birth control, look, it's not good. And I've definitely, known women who have done that. And moving forward, I mean, generally speaking, I don't think it's wise for many reasons, to entertain women who are on birth control.
To entertain them.
Yeah, I mean, look, if your goal is to just, partake in hookup, whatever the case, which I'm not advocating for, but I totally get, I've been there, then, that may make sense. But my point is that it's doing something bad to them. They're doing it because they don't want to get pregnant, obviously, right? That's the idea of being on birth control. But the side effects of it in the long term is corrosive to the mind, body, spirit, everything.
Of the actual drug or of the lifestyle?
Yeah,
both.
Well, I would say both. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? There's both, right? The idea of taking birth control, it does have a certain lifestyle. It's incentivizing, in a sense, for women to have promiscuity. Because you think about it, it's like, man, I don't want to waste this birth control that I'm perpetrating on my body and not be having sex. That'd be wild, right? So in a way, I think that it does perpetuate women being sluttier by being on birth control. And I get it. Pragmatically, it makes sense. You take this pill, you don't have a baby. I get it. It makes sense. But is it worth the trade-off of our society is fucked? I mean, in general, it's not good, right? Look at the news. Look at social media. It's not good.
And that shit has more side effects. The birth control has more biological side effects. It fucks up women's bodies more than is really talked about. I don't remember what channel. I've watched a real good video or two. If I could think of it, I'll drop the link. But
Cool.
We just went through. My daughter's a week away from turning 14, and so we discussed this sort of paradigm here, and decided that it's not worth it to put her on it. So
Yeah, that's
it's
good.
not an easy. It's not an easy call, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it's like everything in life. You have to weigh out the pros and the cons, right? You want to be balanced in your decision making. There's not always a right and wrong, or at least, there's not always a clear cut right and wrong per context, per situation. Again, I look at the micro, right? Just the individual, and the macro, meaning how does it affect society? How would it be if all women were doing this or all men were doing this? And when you look at that and you're like, man, this is fucked. I mean, it's a hint, I would say. So, Neo, what up, man?
What's going on? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, no. I just wanted to come up. Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. I was just going to say, wondering what your thoughts are so far. I don't know what you might have seen of yesterday or today. I just started.
Well, I mean, honestly, I mean, I did get on the panel. I mean, to me personally, it's gotten blown out of proportion. I personally think that it was just an interview. You know, like she's an interview channel, right? Like she interviewed you, she interviewed quite a few people.
Yeah.
The $5 being blood money, that's not cool, man, because I earned that $5. Okay.
No. I don't mean it in that sense. I mean it in terms of, well, look, let's go back to the first part. You're saying that she interviews people. I agree with you. That's true. However, there's been at least 30 comments from Sarah to her so far that are validating and making it cool, however you want to put that, pedestalizing Jasmine Jafar as well as what she's doing. And the culture that she's perpetrating, I'm pretty positive no mother would want for their daughter or niece or cousin or fucking anyone. Because granted, the money's there, and my issue is money really the ultimate goal? Right? And the idea is just, well, as long as it's not illegal, then it's good, it's ethical, it's moral, it's good for you. It's leaving these women in fucking shambles. And then it leaves the weak men that end up dealing with these women also in shambles. And what do you think it does to the kids if and when they have kids? Same fucking thing. Vicious cycle.
No,
So sorry,
I mean,
Neil, you wouldn't expect the same attitude if she was, interviewing a drug dealer or, an ex-mob boss or something like that. She wouldn't be validating them, being like, oh, you're such an inspiration. Well, when you're dealing with someone who is genuinely dragging down society, and she's just like, oh, yeah, you're such an inspiration. What, sorry?
I'm sorry. That's hardly analogous. Like, I wouldn't really compare an OnlyFans model interview versus a drug dealer. Now, in theory, I get what you're saying, but realistically, it's not the same thing, and the quote unquote simping or whatever it is, like that Sarah was quote unquote doing, you got to look at it like this. Like if you bring somebody on your channel, right? If you want it to be a debate and you want it to be combative, then yes, and that's the style that you would go for. But if you want to welcome someone for the first time and not like scare them away, I would think that the goal would be to not necessarily attack them. Now granted, after the interviews all finished and completed, they could talk about whatever they want. And if you want to question, like put a little bit more heat on her, then that's fine. But I would just say initially when you're, interviewing somebody for your channel, especially when you're a growing channel, you're not going to necessarily just insult everybody that gets on, because then nobody's going to want to get on because they're going to feel like they're being attacked.
Right, but this is a false dichotomy that you're presenting. The dichotomy is, well, on one hand, you don't want to go blood sport on them, and the other hand is, well, if you're not going blood sport on them, then you must be doing what Sarah's doing. And what Sarah's doing is not just holding an interview. Again, she is placating, she's pedestalizing, she's affirming, reaffirming what she's doing, even to the degree of, well, I think that 110% of women would do what you're doing if they were as pretty as you. And I would do this if I was as pretty as you. That's a lot more than just having a civil interview.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. I mean, was she fluffing her up? Absolutely. That's we're not in disagreement there. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, me personally, I don't take it that seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I came in there in good faith to just to have a conversation. Could I have pushed on her a little bit more? Absolutely, and I kind of did a little bit. I held myself back because there are, like, I gave her flowers to acknowledge that, hey, she's I think she's pretty, like, fairly skilled at debate. But I did also try to push a little harder. But being that it wasn't really a debate stream, I didn't really go there.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Oh,
yeah, you didn't come in guns blazing like I would, and you wouldn't have gotten away with that. Neither would I have. Now let's talk about, just real quick. I don't know if you saw this, but I did see this part personally. Is Leroy put at one point in the comments, he wrote "gross." Now I didn't know who it was to, or if it was to anyone. Maybe it was to fucking recipe that went bad that they just talked about. I don't know. But nonetheless, he wrote gross in his comment, taken off by Sarah herself, according to the, the wrench there. So to me, that's fucking mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. People said much worse about me. I don't know about you. You're pretty nice. Definitely Leroy. Definitely people on there. I came 10,000 times harder at DL than gross. I mean,
I would
that's,
take it up too.
I mean, I didn't see that, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe because it got taken off before that, but I don't know. I mean, was it a mod? Was it her herself that did it?
Well, it said her.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know,
right. Yeah.
There's our own channels. You know what I mean? Like we decide what we want and what we choose not to allow. You know, again, like I mean, I personally wouldn't have deleted the gross comment. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But